$400 billion in merger talk just cratered AstraZeneca and sent Bristol soaring. Oil's down 5%, Korea's down 5%. Stick around, the oversold chip name is at the end. Dow futures up over 1%, S&P futures up about 0.5%. That Bristol deal chatter is lifting healthcare weight in the Dow. Nikkei's down nearly 1%, but Nifty's up 1.6%. Different day, different regional story. The consensus story is simple. AstraZeneca's the target, Bristol overpays, done deal. But analysts are on record calling this perplexed territory. That's not confidence, that's doubt about the price tag itself.
Here's who's wrong on the bullish read. If AstraZeneca shareholders are balking and the funding's debt-heavy, that's not a premium takeover. That's leverage risk dressed up as a merger. Watch for actual terms before you believe the pop.
Zoom out to the S&P, and none of this is denting the tape. SPY is sitting around 750, right on that round number, with resistance near 755 and support down at 729. Healthcare drama? Index shrugs.
Proof this call is wrong looks like official confirmation, real terms, real financing inside a week. Proof it's right looks like silence, and AstraZeneca grinding lower into September. That's the tell to watch.
Trump called off the Iran strikes, and crude just had its worst reaction in 3 weeks. USA is down over 5% this morning. That's real relief at the pump, if it holds past this week. 5.5% down in one session. That's the cheapest crude in 3 weeks, and it's a big part of why Dow futures are up over a point today. Meanwhile, Korea just gave back last week's entire story. Kospi's down 5%, Samsung and SK Hynix down nearly 9%. Foreigners dumping the exact chip names they piled into days ago. EY's down 3% today to around 156. The level that decides whether this is a pause or a real breakdown sits at 150, about $6 below where we're trading. Lose that and last week's rally's fully erased. Now, the bond market. Treasury yields just did something not witnessed in 56 years. That's not noise. That's the kind of signal that reprices every earnings reaction this week, starting with SpaceX's numbers today. TLT's down about 0.5%, and the curve's twisting in a way that hasn't happened since before most traders were born. Watch how yields move on Friday's jobs print. That's the real test. The week ahead. SpaceX reports its first ever public earnings today. AMD, SanDisk and Eli Lilly follow in the days right behind it. Real catalysts, landing straight into a market still digesting last week's Fed hold.
SpaceX shares hit a fresh closing low heading into tonight's report, with a big employee stock unlock right behind it. Watch bond yields on the reaction. That 56-year twist is the backdrop for every print this week.
Right, the name I promised you, Intel. Down 38% from its high, in a sector everyone's calling dead money after the chip sell-off. That consensus might be exactly backwards. 38.3% off the peak. That's the kind of drawdown that either signals a broken company or a stock nobody wants to own right before it turns. Intel's around $88 right now. 90's the round number resistance overhead. 82's the floor from the last 2 months. Clear 90 on volume, and the comeback story gets a lot more credible. This is the kind of setup our app flags automatically. The crowd gauge, overbought, oversold, both moving averages stacked on one chart, so you're not guessing which signal to trust. Right now, the crowd's leaning into Intel with a buy stance, conviction around 75, herd direction pointing up. 3 out of 4 agree. That's not consensus screaming sell anymore. Analysis, not advice. So, AstraZeneca's deal, Korea's reversal, and Intel quietly turning. Watch that 150 level on EWY and 90 on Intel this week. PremiChart.com has the app, and the daily brief lives there and on X. See you tomorrow morning.